So it's raining. We're going to do a garden tour. Every time I do a garden tour, it seems to have inclement weather, which means it's the right day to do it. Let me show you what we got growing. So I have not been able to water this top tier because a little house wren, let me put my coffee down. A house wren decided to build her nest here, so I gave her my top tier. I have not been watering it because she's got babies in there. Is she in there? Yeah, Mama's in there. I won't bother her too terribly much because I've been keeping people up to date with her on my stories, but whenever I walk by here, even if I'm like 20 steps away from the green stalk, she flies out and hits me in the face. Because I have not been watering this well, you can see chamomile does not like the heat regardless. But we've gotten a little bit off of these top ones, but we haven't got anything down here. So I'm going to try and grow chamomile again in the fall and see if it doesn't do better there. Chamomile, especially this kind that I have, which is German chamomile, it does like -20 and like handles it like a champ. So we'll see how that goes differently for me. If not, I'll try again in the spring, get it in earlier. So this is our dill. So dill will flower like this, and it will set little tiny seeds, and those seeds will turn brown, and that is when I put the bags on them, because I'm going to catch all this dill seed in the bottom of the bag, because eventually the head will come down. It will release the little seeds. A couple of them are in there. You can see in the bottom there. And that is how I like to save seed. That's my easy peasy way of doing it. You can see though, I'm nervous to come around the green stalk. I told you, Mama Bird hits me in the face every time if I duck down. I got this Roma growing out of the green stalk, and she's doing great. I need to get some harvest off her. But end of July, hang on, I gotta sneak away. Shh, it's okay. I gotta sneak around Mama Bird. She's a good mama. All right. What's wrong? So July is our biggest preserving month. A lot of people, it's August, but we're so far down south that we're July. July is the biggest time for bringing in produce. Everything starts getting really heat stressed for us in August. As you can see, I mean, we're watering, but everything is just getting really, really stressed. And of course, the pests are coming out. You can see this tomatillo has all kinds of damage, but the tomatillos are still setting fruit. I can't even believe. These are like my new favorite item to grow. I'm going to donate an entire 12-foot section to them next year in the garden. We love them so much, especially the yellow tomatillos, the yellow mammoth ones, the big long ones. They're our favorite. We use them in place of a pepper. But all of this that was in front here, we re-sowed with bush beans. You can see we got to get out here and get some harvest. We got to prune too if any of this is going to last. Prune the bottoms, and when I prune for heat or something like this, and I will go ahead and prune everything from the bottom up to the next truss. So like this one, I'll prune all of this. I'll get these tomatoes, prune the truss off up to that truss. That way the plant doesn't have to worry about anything down below, just right up to where it is, and it just makes a healthier plant. In my opinion, where I live in a very humid place. These cherry tomatoes, you can see, look at the damage they're getting. So bad. So they're the only ones that are really, really attracting pests, and what I've noticed is, excuse my puppy dog, what I've noticed is these are kind of like a Roma. They are definitely a determinate cherry tomato, which I absolutely do not mind. That is fine by me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come in and take all of them out. You can see they're pretty much all ripened. Slicers got really sick early on, and to be honest, I don't like any of the slicers I grew for my area. So I grew a pineapple tomato, a solar flare tomato, and a Kellogg's breakfast, and everyone loves a Kellogg's breakfast, but not me. So I just didn't love the way they grew. I had a lot of cat facing. I had a lot of blossom end rot, which, I mean, sometimes in the rain you just can't help that. But they got more blossom end rot than any of the other tomatoes. Amish pastes were fine, Jersey Devils were fine, Romas were fine, but these guys got blossom end rot in big rain. So I think they're just not suited for my climate with the type of rain that we get. So I'm going to try something else next year. I didn't love these guys. And all through here, we took out Roma tomatoes that were just done producing, resowed with bush beans. Trying to get this couch grass up. The sweet alyssum, getting some sun, is starting to flower again, which is great. Sweet alyssum attracts wasps, and it attracts a certain kind of wasp that lays its eggs in the tobacco hornworm, which we've only seen a couple. And to be honest, the tobacco hornworms have gone after my tomatillos over my tomatoes. Go figure. Got some bush beans still producing. You can see the pole beans have come back nice and healthy. The yield on them is just on the up and up. They just keep on coming all the way up. So I don't know if you've watched our other garden tours, but if you haven't, these got really, really sick early in the season. We had to spray them with a copper fungicide, and because it was greatly affecting the yield from, let's see, about here down. They lost all their leaves. They turned yellow, and they were just dying from the ground up. But they're doing really good. They even survived all the Japanese beetle damage. Thank goodness that season is over. They're pretty much gone. And then our Thai basil. I need to come out here and get more of this Thai basil. Isn't it just the most beautiful plant? I love this Thai basil. I gave it to somebody as a present. And they said, we hated it. I go, really? How did you use it? They go, well, we put it in our pasta sauce. I go, oh, that would be awful. Genovese basil. That's down there. That's Italian basil. This is Asian basil. But we took out our cucumbers here. They weren't sick. They were just producing like crazy. But we had so many cucumbers, we just did not need any more. I had no one else to give them away to. What we do need more of is green beans. So I took them out, and sometimes you got to make that call. So that has been a big challenge in gardening for me, is when something's doing really well, but it kind of hurts my heart to have to pull it out. But we do need, we have a year's worth of relish, a year's worth of pickles. We are just kind of over cucumbers. No one's getting them eaten. I'm having to bribe people to eat them. Nobody can I give them away to anymore. So it needed to go to the beans, and I needed to be okay with that. I don't know if anybody else has a hard time pulling out plants that are healthy and doing well, but sometimes that is just the call you have to make as the gardener. You can see we've been picking on this basil. She's been doing well, recovering though. Oh, look at that. It's a cucumber beetle. What is she doing on my basil? Get off of there. So you see the Romas. These are not, they're getting sick. You see they're almost done. They've set all their flowers. They are over it. Even the flowers they are setting are dropping because of heat stress. And they are not going to set many more anyway. So we will cut these out too. They are determinates. They will be done. And we will put in probably more beans, or maybe the winter and our fall kale. We've got fall seeds already started. You can see, oh, he's going in. Big sister's gonna get him some yogurt. So you can see I put these flowers in this bag. And the reason I did that was because I don't like doing it, but I try and do it in mid-season when the bees have tons of flowers anyway. I do this because I want to save seed, and I want the seed to save true. So I will hand pollinate these so they don't get cross-pollinated with any of my other tomatoes. These are my Jersey Devils. It's important when you cross-pollinate that you cross-pollinate from two plants. So I can't save two different trusses on the same plant. I need to save from this one and this one. And actually, I have one way down here I'm saving. Trying hard with the zucchini, succession sowing zucchini. We've got, this is a different variety. They're like smaller and rounder. And I'm hoping they will come to fruition quicker. Oh, look. That's no good. I'm hoping they will come to fruition quicker than these longer ones. So hopefully we can get more. Oh, look. Look at that. More eggs already starting. There's another pest. Well, I've been noticing that eggs have been on the top of the leaves this year, which, well, I don't mind because they're easier to see, but you can see I have one zucchini coming and I have some more female flowers, and hopefully I'll be able to hold this plant healthy enough to get 3 zucchini from it. I know that sounds crazy, but I just have had a super big problem. And I keep trying to figure out why my plants are stressed and attracting pests, which is clearly what's happening. So next year I'm going to give them a bigger hole, and I'm going to like fill it with some really nutritious compost and then put them into that instead of just into my into the ground and then covering them with mulch. We'll see how it goes though. The zinnias are doing well. They're falling all over the place. Bees are loving them. So you see we kept these cucumbers in the back because they are filled with cucumbers, and all these little ones. So when we took our cucumbers out, we take all the little ones off. We don't let those go to waste, and we make little gherkins, and they're fun. And we only do a jar or 2 of them a year, so they're like special. And then all through here probably are going to be fall tomatoes. No, just kidding. I planted bush beans here already. Some of these little cucumbers, I succession sowed cucumbers for some reason. I did not think they were going to produce the way they did. So I didn't take the little ones out, but as I take the big ones out and they have, if I need any more, I'll have them. Or if somebody else needs them, I can give them away. Not sure if you noticed these guys. These are garlic. They don't like our heat down here. But that's okay. I am not really growing them for bulbs. I'm growing them for interplanting to help keep pests away, which they've done a great job. And I'll just take whatever's here and I'm going to just resow it into the garden for fall to get better bulbs. I'll harvest in June of next year for our actual garlic harvest. You can see bush beans. They're just starting to put on flowers and produce. They're doing good. They were a little heat stressed. You can see all the yellow in there. Copper is really, really strong. You can see these ones got sick next, right after the other ones. They're still recovering. Copper is hard to use. It is not great. I try and use it I will literally wait till dark to do it, and I try very, very hard to not get it on any flowers. And the reason that is because copper is, it's for organic gardening. It is. And a lot of organic gardens use it. But it's extremely strong. It affects the environment. It affects your pollinators. The only organic item that does not affect the good guys is BT, because it's specifically for something. It's a bacteria that is mostly for caterpillars. You spray it on the leaves, caterpillar eats it, they get a really bad indigestion and die. However, when you spray something like copper fungicide, even though it's approved for gardening, organic gardening, you have to realize it does affect the environment, it does affect your pollinators. So I do try and do it at night. I try and be oh so careful to not get it anywhere near any of the flowers. And I do the best I can, but sometimes you do have to do something like that and make that call, being the gardener. You know, we put a lot of money into the garden because I need to expect a harvest to come out of it. And that is our grocery bill. So it's important to me to get the harvest, but it's not so important to me that I will use something like a chemical or a spray like that, because that's not healthy for my family or the environment. But I do have to get that harvest from it. So when something like that happens, and you have to make the call, you have to figure out what does it actually mean to you. However, if it was later in the season, like this almost done, if it was September and they got sick, I probably would have just let them go. But because it was so early in the season and we have not really gotten hardly any beans, I'm going to have to end up buying from a local farmer this year, which is great. I love supporting my local farmers, but that also means I've learned something in the garden this year. I want to get different seed next year. I think I got some seed that was very weak. And, you know, it comes down to your morals, how much you need to get the harvest, or if you just are here to learn something, or if you I enjoy gardening, but also this is my family's food. We preserve this food. This is important to us. So that's kind of just how that goes. And that's what we decided to do this year. Now, I only had to spray copper 2 times. I don't spray it weekly. I sprayed it 2 times, and that was it. So hopefully it didn't affect our pollinators too terribly bad. Like I said, I only had to do it twice, and if I had to do it every week, I probably would just cut out the bean plants. We got more Romas. These were succession sowed. These ones aren't quite at the end yet. You can see they have flowers. They're still setting. So these will stay in a little longer. These will come out probably mid-September. I'm sorry, mid-August, not September. They will be way done by then. And you can see I have more baggies. That's my Jersey Devils. And over there. And oh, you guys see these? I have 2 little garden patrolmen. They are doing great. We've watched them molt twice now. It's been super cool. I really debated on whether or not, I think I will for my youngest, do the life cycle of the orb weavers, because he is super interested in them. He's 3, you know, like we'll just, you know, kind of go over it and make it fun. He doesn't really do school yet, but my older daughter already did it with a nature journaling class a couple years ago, so she's well aware. But they are just the greatest. There's another guy in here somewhere. This is his old web. Now, because there was 2 of them, I'm pretty sure they're males, because the females tend to be a little more space dominant. But I don't know. He's kind of gone. I don't see where he was. You see his webs right here. Huh. Maybe it was a male and female. I don't know. But this dude has gotten huge since he's been here. I really want to read Charlotte's web whenever I see them. And you can see these Romas are also doing awful. They're ready to come out, and you can see they're set with some green fruit, but there are no blossoms. So actually I think these guys are going to come out before that one, even though they were put in after. They are just clearly very done, except for this one up here. This one has some flowers on it. But you can see they just said I'm done. The carrots, however, since the Roma's foliage has gone down, the carrots have just taken off, which is weird because carrots don't like our summers at all. We grow carrots in the fall here, but I sowed them under and germinated them well, so I'm gonna see what happens, because like ideally carrots and tomatoes love growing near each other. I don't know if you ever read the book Carrots Love Tomatoes. It's a great book. But it's about companion planting. Here's more dill. So I like saving lots of dill seed. One, because the birds will take it just everywhere. It'll pop up everywhere. Also, if I don't have dill in time for canning season next year, I can substitute dill seed for fresh dill. And it's always nice to have that. But I think that's really all we use dill for. Occasionally it'll go in like chicken salad and things like that. But yeah, so saving dill seed is a big seed that I like to have, especially because the birds will take it and drop it, and if you grow dill once, you will have it all over your property forevermore, and you can't get rid of it. But that's not really a bad thing, is it? Also have, this one needs to get some bags on it. They're starting to turn brown. This was cilantro over here. It's now turning into coriander as they go brown. Once again, cilantro's hard. Oh, look at this little dill. My son planted a bunch of dill. We had so much. He planted them in the hole. I can't believe they're growing. I honestly just can't. But they are. So the coriander isn't quite like using cilantro in place of it, but coriander is wonderful in lots of things, so I like to save the seed. I am better at growing coriander than I am at growing cilantro. It just has such a short season here because we get so hot so quick. I'm going to just try and start it earlier and see what we can do. Do better in the fall. Basil, basil, basil. Look at this comfrey. They're just, I mean, the flowers of this thing are just so cool. But I grow comfrey just for compost, which I need to move it out of the herb garden. And I'm going to put it over in our new compost area. The echinacea in the back is doing good. We harvested a bunch of echinacea for tea. So much Thai basil. We're slowly, oh look here. You're welcome, friend. Today, my husband says we should grow a bunch of Thai basil just for the pollinators, which I agree because it's gorgeous. I love the, you know, the purple against the green. So pretty. So the walking onions are ready. If you don't follow us on Instagram, we put out a couple reels about walking onions and how we do that. But you can see here they have, it's kind of like multi-sowing, but they do it themselves. So they will split. Let's see if I can't get the camera in there better. Okay, so they will split themselves like this. And then what you do is you're going to have to harvest the whole clump, and then they'll be attached only by their roots. Then you break them apart, and then you plant the smallest ones back, and they will continue to separate. They also will have shoots in spring that come up with little tiny bulbs on it with onions that will sprout, drop down, and they will become onions too. So, and that's another way they'll go grow in a clump like that. So I have found even bulb onions from seed like growing like that. Little Charles Dowding multi-sowing things, but I found all onions like growing that way together. All the Thai basil. We just have like a wall of Thai basil. It smells so good when you walk by it. It's lovely. It's not too licoricey like fennel is, so I like Thai basil. And of course, the asparagus and strawberries. We're moving. I let all the strawberries go to runners, and I actually fertilize them to go to runners because we want to do an entire, so where that fig tree is, we're going to till all the way down to the corner of the house, and we are going to do nothing but strawberries. That way I can give them a nice acidic soil and fertilize them better for a berry. Berries like acidity. Asparagus do not, as much as their root systems don't mess with each other. Asparagus and strawberries, I have found that they don't like the same soil pH as much, and I can't fertilize my strawberries to continue berrying with my asparagus there. So, oh, there's a caterpillar. Get off of there, you. You can't be there. And my asparagus are not the strongest. So I want to start some from seed and do it that way. Oh, look, this crown's putting up another little asparagus. So asparagus, if you let them go, so they have little shoots like this, and then if you let them go, they get real ferny. They'll get little red berries on them, and that's where your seed is. So I'm waiting on that. And normally when you buy crowns, you still have to wait 2 years before you can use them. When you do it from seed, you can make such a stronger plant. You can also harvest it in 2 years. So why wouldn't you just grow it from seed? But yeah, you see the strawberries coming into the walking onions. I'm trying to get the walking onions whittled down and out because I want to put some potatoes here. I just want to shorten the walking onion section. And then of course, you know, they'll divide and sprout more and we'll plant more. But the comfrey needs to be moved. It's just pushing the chives out of the way, pushing the echinacea, even the oregano, which is strong, it's pushing it. And this is not a pepper. Get out of there, you. Look at that. That is quite the taproot. It's a wild amaranth. They grow everywhere here. Love amaranth. Think it has a purpose, just not next to my peppers. So you can see our snack peppers. They're doing really good. They're turning colors. I didn't get quite as big as I wanted them to, but I definitely was overwatering them. You can even see still, like, they're pretty light green. They should be darker. Like this guy up here, like, that's a good pepper green. They should be a nice, deep, bold green. These guys are a little light, and I'm pretty sure it's from overwatering because we just did a soaker hose down the middle, and even though they're at the end, they're just, they just got too much water. So I'm hoping to do drip irrigation next year. Got some orange ones. Got our red ones over here. We already did a big harvest of chili peppers. We got more chilies coming. That's one thing I love about peppers is they really don't get heat stress, at least where I live. Peppers are trees, which is a cool thing. Like, we grow them as annuals because we have a frost, but if you're from like somewhere that doesn't get a frost, a killing frost, then you can grow it as a tree. And they will overwinter, and that's one cool thing about peppers is that they will continue to produce in the heat because they're used to it. But also, you can overwinter them if you don't live in a place that, or if you live in a place that does have frost like we do. And I plan on overwintering my bell pepper and maybe 2 snacks and a chili. I just don't have a ton of space in my tiny house with all my children and all of our things. So we will have to see. This zinnia, oh look, she's getting some powdery mildew. She has lived a strong life. This zinnia has been the strongest one. Oh, look, he moved. There he is. He just moved over here for me. Well, I cannot longer get through here, so I'm just going to go around. I'm not going to bother him. You stay right there. Those spiders, I have watched them catch so many caterpillars and moths that would have gone to my brassicas I'm about to put out. All my broccoli and Brussels and things. So I will just let him... I will move for him. He has the floor. I am so appreciative of anything like that. And I don't super love to have spiders and touch spiders and things, but I more than respect them in the garden and appreciate that they are there. So I will just go around. Like, watch out for Mama Bird. She doesn't hit me in the face, because she will. Okay. There's Mama Bird. There's Mama Bird in there. And here, I've left this sunflower for her, and I've watched her. I've sat on my deck and watched her. Look at all the seeds she's gotten. I've left these for her. They're really kind of ugly right now, but I've left them for her. And she's been eating them, and some other birds too. We've got a lot of mockingbirds that come and eat them. All our eastern bluebirds are gone. All their babies are grown. Look at that zinnia. I love the full zinnias when they're really full like that. I don't think zinnias are called double click. I'm pretty sure they're called like State Fair or Giant something. But yeah, these ones are kind of weird. Oh, look at that bug. That spider. Anyway, some of these didn't open all the way. Oh, there's one that's going to open again. Normally I cut these out and give them to my bunnies because they love them too. They actually don't eat the seeds, but they will eat, let me show you on this. My rabbits like to eat all of this around here, and they will actually eat the big leaves too. But I left this one here for Mama Bird, and this one. These are the determinate cherries. A little better look at them. They're actually planted on this side. The yellow tomatoes are usually the ones that get sick first, but these determinate cherries definitely are done. Oh, see? Look at this. The slicer gone bad again. With blossom end rot. Nothing else in the garden has blossom end rot, but these darn slicers, they just do not do well for my area. I need to find a better... I want to try a Cherokee purple. A lot of people around here grow Cherokee purples. I'm pretty sure I can get seeds from my sister-in-law. Her husband loves them, so I'm excited to do that next year. My makeshift bean... My beans just needed somewhere to go. So I tried to put some netting up for them, and they did not fare well. These guys are going on cattle panels next year. Oh, you can see more cucumbers. I honestly don't even know if I'll grow cucumbers next year. I just don't know if we'll need them. We'll have to see. But maybe we'll just grow a couple for fresh eating. These I'm going to grow again. The ox heart, Hungarian ox hearts. Because even this section where the Jersey Devils are, the Jersey Devils down there did way better. And I think it was this area had some sawdust dumped on it, and it nitrogen robbed the top of the soil, and they just did not do as well. That's okay. We are going to give them one more chance. Oh, look at this. So I like this netting because the fact that, like, if you don't have a truck, this netting you can get home. You can get this. It comes in a roll, and it works just as well. I honestly would have done tomatoes on it. I think after using it for a whole season, you could do tomatoes on this. But stuff like this happens a lot, and you can see like it's stretching the plastic. Like I'm gonna have to like cut that out. But this does happen quite a bit, and that would be super sad if it happened to your tomato. Cattle panels are ideal, but this would definitely work because I can fit T-posts and this in a car, and some people, that is where you're at. You do not have the access to bring cattle panels home, and that's where we were for a while. We were very grateful that someone let us borrow their trailer to get them this year. But some people just don't have a truck. People just don't have a trailer to borrow. But beans are doing good. These guys are, there's a cucumber in here. Of course there is. Of course there's a cucumber in the beans. Oh. Ooh, look at that damage. That's interesting. What the heck did that? Ooh, there's eggs on it too. That is like grasshopper damage. That's interesting. Look, see, some of the beans are going to seed already. So I'm not going to go much farther because my friend is right there. But you can see our tomatoes need to be picked. And all of these are my Amish pastes. They're just, I always call them my baseball tomatoes. They're huge and wonderful. You can see our Jersey Devils over there doing great. Oh, look at him shaking in the wind. And you know what I've noticed about these guys, the orb weavers? I've been watching them closely all summer. I have not seen one pollinator fly into their web. That's not true. Some moths are pollinators, but they are also lay eggs for pests. But I have not seen one bee of any type, carpenter, bumble, honeybee, get stuck in their webs. I don't know if maybe their webs are just, they can see them better, the bees. I haven't seen a butterfly get stuck. I've seen lots of moths. I've seen lots of moths and lots of caterpillars and lots of cucumber beetles and things like that in there. I even saw them get eastern leaf-footed bug, which those have been pretty prevalent this year. They have like this little straw tongue, and they stick it into like a tomato or mostly tomatoes because they're juicier, but they can do cucumbers too because they have a lot of water. They'll stick it in, suck out the liquid, and the hole is so small like you won't see the damage, and they really don't leave a lot of poop behind, so you don't see it either. You have to really look for the bug. A good sign of them is if you have nice big tomatoes and healthy plants, but the fruit is dropping. Because if they do it too much, the plant will just drop the fruit. Kind of stinks, but that's a good sign of them. Alright, we are going to run to the front. I'm going to do a front and back garden tour in one video. See if I can beat the rain. Before we go to the front, I always forget because it's at the end of my garden and I go around the pathway and walk up the front. I always forget to show you guys our blackberry. So we bought her this year and she's gone crazy. I'm going to have to get another trellis and put it this way. And I'm hoping, I know, I put a birdhouse under berries. Don't ask me why I did that. I'm going to have to get some netting. The birdhouse was there. It was the ideal spot for the berries. But I have this tunnel spider. She's been eating tons of aphids and ants. Appreciate you, darling. But, so this was the original cane. I tried to cut it off. I need to come out here with a knife. This was the original cane we planted, and then all of this is new growth. All of it. We've gotten, I mean, a handful of berries, like just enough for my kids to be like super excited about it. And the berries are big, and the reason I planted these here is these are thornless blackberries. So I planted the thornless blackberries in the back. We have raspberries that have prickles on them in the front, and they have way, way, way more berries on them this year, and they were grown from a bare rootstock. This I got from a lady. This was a plant I got from her. It was already leafed out, but it has done fantastic. And you can see all the new canes. These will all be new growth and berries next year. Now, raspberries, if you pinch the tip, they'll kind of like get more shoots along this stem with more berries. I need to look up if blackberries do that. If anybody knows, put that in the comments, because I'm not sure. I'm not the best blackberry grower. Blackberries grow wild to the point where like they're almost considered a nuisance. So a lot of times most people around us just harvest and forage wild blackberries. But of course I wanted some thornless ones for my kids to eat, because I have little kids, and even foraging for them, they have thorns on them. So it's just a little harder to do with, 1-year-olds. Let me show you our fig tree. This is our fig tree. I honestly can't believe she made it. My mother-in-law gave this fig tree to my daughter for her birthday. It's really special to my daughter. So we went to our old house before we moved here, and I ripped it up out of the ground and put it in my car. I mean, its root system, the root system of the fig tree is as big as the fig tree. I mean, it was that big in the back of my van. Dirt everywhere, huge roots. So, poor thing. But you can see it's making figs, but it's actually dropped a lot of figs. But so we brought it here in the back of my car. I sat it in like a wheelbarrow filled with water, and then it frosted 2 nights in a row before I could get her planted. I can't believe she made it. I really can't. But you can see she does have some dead space that we have to cut from her. Look at her being a champ and putting off a new shoot. So, there's another one. So we will try our best to reroot those. However, she's dropping a lot of fruit. So if you see this, a small fig that comes right off, this is not pollinated. This is not pollinated. See, this one is not pollinated. This is fruit drop. So figs are pollinated by one type of wasp, and it's like a little teeny weeny microscopic wasp. And the cool things about figs is they will, you see right here, like this one is still fine. It could be pollinated. The flower of the fig is inside here, so it'll make this little fruit. The flower is inside. The wasp, which is almost microscopic, will go in right here through like this little belly button on it, lay eggs. The eggs will be male and female. They will procreate together, the females will leave fertile. The males will come out and just die. But as they're in there, the babies will pollinate the fig. And that's how figs pollinate. They will then fly away and come back. Now, where we used to live, tons of people had figs. Like almost every neighbor had a fig tree. So we never had a problem with pollination. But here, it is not the case. So I'm hoping to maybe get another one and put it over here. I have to look into what really to do to attract more. Now you can see there's even some baby figs that are still being made. So she's still putting off flowers. In here too. She's still putting off, putting out figs or putting out flowers because her flower's on the inside. But she's not getting pollinated, because if not, they would get bigger, because that is not a good fig. And it's not like rock hard, but it's like very thick, like elephant skin. Like I can't even break into it with my nail. Like it's very thick. And if you've eaten figs, you know that is not how they are. Something else really cool about figs and how they propagate is, you saw the shoots at the bottom. So there is a place in India, there is an entire forest of fig. It's just fig trees, and it is actually one fig tree that has produced shoots that have come up. And I think it was something like 4 acres. It was like a 4-acre forest of one fig tree. I think that is crazy awesome. But figs are one of those things, like they are ancient, they're part of the Bible, they are part of not just the Bible, but almost every religion. And they are, I love them, that's why we grow them. But we're going to have to figure out how to actually get figs from her in this new location. Okay, we're in the front gardens now. We're going to check out these super awesome raspberries. So you can see they just have tons of clusters, some even turning red. We did have ants on them. I don't know. Look, they ate a bunch of this one. They ate a bunch of our first ones, the raspberries, but like this one right here. Look, there they are eating another one. Look at them! Gotta figure out. I guess maybe diatomaceous earth? These are fire ants. Awful little things. And the wine berries do not have any flowers, but they are growing and producing. And I think it's because they're going to produce on these new canes next year. So these new ones, these will produce berries in the next year compared to the rootstock that I was given. So I'm trying to put some squash over here, but they're not happy. They're really, really not happy. And you can see our boxes just look sad and awful. They need to be watered so bad. The only thing in here that's going to stay, you can see the tomatoes done. I'm even going to go ahead and take out the tomatillos. The peppers, though, I'm going to keep them in. And I'm going to, see, this is a good chili pepper, but I need to get them watered. I can't actually look at this and not water them. They are so hot. So these boxes have been great, but I just don't love raised beds. So I put cardboard underneath to block the grass, and I think that's what's keeping the roots from going down into the actual soil, and that's not ideal for anyone. So if the cardboard was just too thick. So next year when the cardboard's broken down, they'll be great, but as of right now, they can't. So they're just in what's here, which is horse manure and like some homemade compost, but that is it. And that's just not enough to keep them, to hold the water moisture is really what it is. As you go by here, this is my blueberry. She's a little dwarf blueberry, and these are just kind of in pots to be, I like flowers, but I also like food. So we never get much off of this. We get, like each kid gets a handful every summer. We have some bigger blueberries in ground that are better. Same thing with these little dwarf raspberries. Each kid gets, a handful. But you can see the zinnias are all getting sick. Now, these are sick with powdery mildew, which powdery mildew you would typically treat with copper fungicide. I'm not doing that. I'm not treating flowers with copper fungicide. I'm not doing that to the environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come take them out, and because we are expecting cooler weather, I will go ahead and plant my calendula, which is just little baby seeds right now. They won't go in just yet. But even the straw flowers are looking a little stressed. They're pretty though. The straw flowers. I thought I would leave them on and they would dry with the color, but they don't. Apparently you have to pull them off and they will dry. See, they're supposed to be pink with their color. So I will do that in the future. I have to say, I don't love the look of the straw flower plant. It looks kind of like a giant weed, but the flower is beautiful. You see all our wood back here? We redid our porch, and we're going to stain the boxes to match our porch. I'm excited about it. And this bed is not faring much better. The little zucchini doing fine. The tomato, however, seems okay, but the cucumbers in here never took off. That pepper never took off. I do want to save the gomphrena seed. Oh, look, I do have some beans in there. I need to get those. Even the zinnias are looking a little sad. Everything's just so hot. And it needs so much water. Oh, I got some dill seed. Get a bag on that. But these strawberry fields, gomphrena, I think is my fave. They're so pretty. I planted sweet potatoes in here. They don't mind the heat. They're doing just fine, which I'll probably just let them take over. Take out the sick cucumbers. And these ground cherries are just, this one's not going to do anything. This one's okay. The other one on the other side just needs water. But I might come through and plant more bush beans. As you can see, the beans are not doing terrible. And let this bed get a little taken over with sweet potatoes and bush beans, and then we'll come through and plant it with cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli later in a couple months. I did see I had to come back. So these are my snapdragons. So snapdragons will pod, and you take these little pods and you just dry the pods out, and that's where your seed is. And I will say, do not open the pods if you can help it, because the seeds are like dust, and I like saving them in the pod rather than opening them up, putting them in a baggie. So that's how I like to save my snapdragon seeds. And these are the chantillies from I think Baker Creek. I didn't buy them. My flower farmer friend gave them to me. But you can see we took out the sunflowers here. They were going to go to the bunnies, but I kind of took them out, forgot they were out here. So what I think I'm going to do is just cut the heads off and leave them near my birdhouses for my birds. They were all through here, and they were done. We had one actually fall over, and like its roots came up out of the ground. And this one I thought was done. Might just come through, cut it a little shorter, but look, she's got more shoots and flowers. I took her one flower off, and she said, no, 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 wait a minute. I'll make more flowers, hang on. So, got zucchini's doing, that's probably the best one. Just lying, I'm kidding, that's the best one. This is the second best one. Got my lace flowers from my pollinators. We planted this box. So I asked my husband, I said I wanted boxes. So he built this like into the porch. Like it's on the porch, like you can't really take it off. But it drains very nicely. And we put some good soil and worm castings and green sand in it. But still, everything's really hot. I'm not loving being out here. These cool foliage ones are doing okay though. And this one, so these are super awesome. Now, these are a lot of times used for ground cover. These are called a creeping raspberry, and they do have thorns on them. So it's kind of like ground cover where you don't want to ever have people walk. But they will get little golden raspberries on them, and they're tinier than normal raspberries, but they do, and they kind of like creep and come down. So I put them in my box wanting them to kind of come down, thinking they'd be easier to harvest for my big kids. So we have one in this box, we have one in this box over here. This one. I really like the look of the leaves though, but they do have little tiny thorns on them. So, feverfew, I'm going to let it reseed, so I'm just going to let that one go. I did harvest some. We actually don't use a ton of feverfew. I didn't realize I planted this much. There's some there, there's a bunch in the other boxes. My dahlias are just so tasty to all the bugs, but they're looking good. I'm going to dig up the tubers, and I'm going to move them next year. So this is my dahlia, this one over here is a dahlia, and then this is a dahlia that were all given to me. My flower farmer friends are just the most talented people. They started these dahlias from seed because they're amazing. And then in here, I thought it was a dahlia because the foliage was similar, or maybe you thought it was a feverfew, but it's celery. It does not get enough water. It will be so woody. But celery, my family does not love celery. However, we use celery seed and all the pickles and all the relish and all the things. So I grow celery for it to go to seed. When it flowers, I'll get a bag on it. I don't see it flowering though. There's just a stalk shoot up the middle. It hasn't quite gotten there yet. But if you neglect it, it will get flowers and it will shoot up. So this is Status, I think. It's really pretty. It will stay this color when it dries, so I want to harvest this. I have a hard time harvesting flowers because I do it for the pollinators. Such a hard time with my heart can't handle it. Really snapdragons. But my yarrow, I gotta get in here and do better in this garden, this front flower garden. My yarrow's blooming. So I bought, because I couldn't not, I bought, this is the strawberry pink yarrow, and then this is the white one. The white one is the medicinal one. The other ones are just pretty. And I bought this one is a red, and that's a yellow, which they need to be watered. They're not looking awesome. They just got planted out, I mean, a day or two ago, and they were in pots that were way too small for them. But you can see this yarrow is doing great. This is my medicinal one, and I do need to cut her back. Here's her seed. Let's get some and save some of that. But oh, she smells so good. I love it when you have flowers and you touch them and they smell delicious. And this sunflower is just my absolute favorite. It just keeps putting off shoots like crazy. So you can see it fell, came up. I tried to stake her. She said no thank you. And it's just putting off little, like, just everywhere. Every shoot has a new flower. I'm saving the seed from this baby. I'm excited about her. She's my husband's favorite too. He loves the colors on her. More feverfew because, you know, who doesn't like a tiny daisy? So Cosmo, I don't know why I saved the seed from my Cosmos. They have mealybugs. And I also bought seed. And they are supposed to be giant Cosmos. And they are giant, but they are not blooming at all. They just look like these giant weeds. And I'm upset because I put them everywhere, and I love cosmo flowers, and cosmo flowers are my son's birth flower. I will always grow them, and none of them are doing anything. But in here is my chocolate lace flower. Is that not just the prettiest? These are like a take on a Queen Anne's lace. They're so good for your pollinators. They are flippin' fantastic. And this grapevine, I can't control it. It's just doing whatever it wants to do. So you can see our rootstock down here that we planted. It's split and it's doing like a double leader system thing. Here you go. See, it's split. So what we're planning on doing is taking our trellis and doing the other one going that way to the porch and letting part of it go that way. Oh, caterpillar, get off. And letting the rest of it go that way. Then we're going to take it up and have them come back across. Grapes are actually crazy easy to trellis. They need one wire and they just like got this. But it's just a matter of keeping up with the trellising. I'm trying, because they're new, not letting them hold on to each other, which this one is hard. That one's done better. That one's done a single leader, just come up and went straight across and been fine. All down here, sweet potatoes. Looking a little sad. Maybe they need some water. But they're actually growing through my fence onto the other side. And I keep trying to pull them back and they just insist on it. So I keep damaging the leaves when I pull them back through too. So I'm just letting it go. Letting it be wild and do its thing. Respecting its no. So my children say, you gotta respect no. When they talk to each other. Especially, look, kids fight no matter what age they are. He didn't respect my no. But here is our grapevine. This is the white grape. And I guess maybe white grape is more cultivated, so it just kind of grows, and the red grape's a little more wild. Makes sense. But here is something I'm super pumped to show you. My Lisianthus are blooming. Lisianthus bloom very much like a rose. And I will say some of them, look how small they are. So my very talented flower farmer friends started these in January. That is how long these plants have to be cared for. January. Now hers, she's a little north of me, and hers have already bloomed. And they are very much like a rose. Hers get a little more sun than mine do. But that is a long time for a flower. I mean, they're gorgeous. They're sought after kind of like a peony. It's just like gorgeous, kind of how Lisianthus is. So I will try and save the seeds. I don't know if I have the gumption to baby something from January. And they stay small. You don't have to up pot them a ton, because they do stay relatively small. But I'm excited to see them. They're gorgeous. I have a couple in through here. I gotta get all the oak trees out. Got a couple of them. Here's another one who's budding. They don't really love where I put them. I should have put them in the boxes instead of it out here. And then nothing here did well in the shade, but I'm hoping to put some purple sprouting broccoli through here, especially on this side where these flowers are doing better. So purple sprouting broccoli is one of those things, like, I'm just going to plant it and put a net over it, because it takes like a season and a half. So like you plant it in fall where I live. Another sad box. The fennel's doing well. Oh shoot, I missed a cucumber. Biscuit. My fennel, I was hoping for it to flower for the pollinators and then go to seed, because once again I'm growing it for seed. I don't think I can get it to bulb here in the south. Maybe. I don't know enough about fennel. But I was thinking these ones would bulb for me, because they were doing the best, but they're not going to bulb at all. They're going right to seed. It got hot. I'm hoping they flower. Maybe that'll be the flower. And for the pollinators, I guess in fall, pollinators need stuff in fall. Something about the fall garden I think people forget about is they need flowers in fall. Everybody's so worried about them in spring, but they also need them in fall. Very, very much so. So calendula, cilantro I grow in fall. A lot of echinacea. We do fall sunflowers. We do a lot of, even like stuff like this is gomphrena. It'll hold through the fall. So fall flowers are a thing too. And the chili peppers. Peppers are doing good in these boxes, but the cucumbers are just over the heat. They're just over the life cycle. Oh, look at, I can't get the camera to focus. There's a ladybug crawling. There she is, crawling up the twisty tendril of the cucumber. What are you doing, ma'am? I know other flower I'm going to grow a bunch of is chamomile. Chamomile is a super great cold hardy flower. So you can see this box isn't doing much better. I have bags on my dill. This is one of those tomatoes. They just keep getting blossom end rot, and they're no good. So, and you can see we did have a hornworm out here. We got him though. We got him. It's setting fruit though. I mean, there's a lot of trusses of fruit. Maybe I'll get a fall harvest. There's a lot of fruit trusses on here. So we'll see. I don't know. I think it's a solar flare. A lot of cat facing with it. More fennel. Hopefully it'll go to seed. The cucumber has been doing okay. Not great though. You can see they're just over it. That was a super cool mushroom that's done. And here is a sunflower with a spider in it. He's got a bee. That is really kind of upsetting. I kind of love my spiders, but why are you eating that bee? I like my bees too. Well, I don't think it's a bee, I think it's a hoover fly. Hoover fly are great pollinators. Oh, sir, you couldn't have picked somebody else to eat. That's unfortunate. Ecosystems are hard. These aren't blooming yet. Dill here is still blooming. Got some children calling me. Oh, look, this one. Hopefully it'll be kind of autumn color. It looks like it will. That's exciting. That one's got a bunch of buds on it on the top. Let me get some bags on this dill. All this in the bottom are supposed to be native daisies, but they have not flowered yet. They might be biannual. They might need to do it next year. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It is starting to rain. I'm really happy you were in the garden with me. July garden is so different. It is getting ready for fall, and I can't wait to show you all the fall things that we have going. We have lots of soil blocks, lots of 2-inch pots filled with all kinds of broccoli and cauliflower, cabbages, Brussels sprouts, all those good things. So I am excited to show you where we put them and how we do that. Thank you for being in my garden.